I can feel it in the air. I can feel the air get crisper and cooler. The leaves start to drop from the trees. Everything just seems creepier and cooler at this time of year. It is my favorite time of year. I love it. So, I should thank Chris and Jack for filling in for me on Friday as I took off out of town. So this month I have arranged a whole bunch of interesting guests. And today's guest is here to share some stories about Santa Cruz that fit in perfectly with this time of year. We are talking with... Kevin is here as well. Hey, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How's it going?
Good to see you woke up.
Yep.
Kevin's been here since last week, and he's just been sleeping there. We poked him with a stick, and now he's awake.
Yep.
Glad to see you, Kevin.
Glad to see you, too.
In the other chair, Marianne Porter.
Hello. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, I've been waiting for you to get here. Somebody like you, because I've been wanting to practice my scary voice. And I think I could do my broadcasting in scary voices.
Oh, very good. Yeah, a little more scary.
Yeah, I
just
can't do it. Maybe Phil could do it better. I don't know. Okay, so Marianne, you are author of Haunted Santa Cruz, California.
Yes,
right
I
now,
am.
you can find this book in many of our local bookstores. Many people. How long has this book been around?
Came out about 2016, I believe.
Oh, so it's not that old. It's a relatively new book.
Exactly.
Okay. The book is called Haunted Santa Cruz, California. It's by Arcadia Publishing. You also have a new car that you just drove up in, right?
Yes.
And this is not a Lexus. This is not something that... but this is a fitting car. Tell me more about your car.
I followed all the way into this radio station.
Did you?
Yeah.
Tell me about this car, Marianne.
I have a 1992 Cadillac hearse, and it has been converted into our tour car for Santa Cruz Haunted Tours. My boyfriend, who is the grandson of Joe Balin, who was a American car guy, which created Candy Apple Red and the Pink Panther mobile. He did all the customization on it. It was really awesome. So we do offer haunted tours, and that will be year-round, except for about 4 months out of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
And what months are those? Is that like summertime months? I mean, which are the least creepiest?
Well, the least times we'll be conducting tours is when it's the rainy season, because these are after-hours tours. They're during dark. We will be up in the San Lorenzo Valley area. Pick up and drop off will be at the Brookdale Lodge, and we will take patrons to a couple different locations where they can actually utilize paranormal equipment.
Whose equipment? Your equipment?
I have equipment. Oh, yes. I own Santa Cruz Ghost Hunters as well, so we do paranormal investigations, and I get people all the time asking me, hey, can I join your team? Can I go on an investigation? And, we have our own team. We don't do that. So let's do Santa Cruz Haunted Tours, and let's start inviting people who want to come explore this adventure.
Wow. Do you know a bunch of people who are into the paranormal like you?
I do.
Or are you like the black sheep of your friends?
Well, I'm the black sheep of my family, I guess you would say.
But your friends are all the same herd, right? You're all the same...
Pretty much. I mean, I actually came from a very Roman Catholic family. My uncle was a cardinal with the Vatican under Pope John Paul II. So ghosts weren't something I grew up with at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have a whole lot of time. You're going to be here for the rest of the hour, right?
Yes.
Maybe a little bit longer, maybe? Would you be against that?
I wouldn't be against it.
Okay, good. So, let's talk about, would you be willing to do a seance here? Do you know anybody that can hook me up with? I want to do a seance here at the radio station. I either want to do a seance. Oh, let's check this out, too. It's good Kevin left. You see this right here?
Oh, my goodness.
You see this? Now, Billy, my good friend Billy Army is afraid of this thing. It's just a cardboard box, right?
Yeah.
But this is a what? What am I holding?
A Ouija board.
A Ouija board. And they spell it weird, but it does, I guess it's pronounced Ouija. Right? A Ouija board.
Yes.
Some people are scared of this thing.
Well, and for good reason.
Why?
Well, throughout history, it's already got a bad reputation. And when you think about a Ouija board, you and more than one person are utilizing...
Are you scared of it?
I don't use them, so...
You want to touch this?
No, thank you.
You're scared of this, really?
I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't practice with Ouija boards. I really don't. But the theory behind it...
Holy cow, it's gone. Oh, no, it's there.
is people are using their energy, and you're usually having more than one person. So you're focusing, and you're opening up a door. And a lot of the times, the problem is people forget to close that door.
Oh.
So
And lets the flies in.
Yeah,
Right?
you let something in you can't wash off. That's for sure. It can happen.
Well, this thing smells old and musty.
Yeah, it probably is.
So you believe that the paranormal can be conjured up through something by Parker Brothers or Hasbro?
Well, no, I believe it's the energy that people utilize when they're focusing on something. It's not necessarily the board itself. It's what it's used for.
Could it be the same thing that makes Charlie work? Could it be that kind of thing? Have you ever seen that? When you put a pen, you lay it on you balance a pen or a pencil on top of the other. Has to be perfectly balanced. And then you say, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. And you ask a question. You have to put yes, no. So okay, so this is radio, right?
Right.
Hey, Kevin. Hey. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Look at this.
A zombie.
No, it's a Ouija board.
A Ouija board.
Yeah, I don't even know what a zombie is. I do know, but it's a Pee Wee Herman character. But this is a Ouija board. Are you afraid of Ouija boards?
Don't do them.
Okay, all right. All right. 479-1080, 218-5726. Oh, everything's good?
No, I need to talk to you, but I have to wait till the bottom.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, let Marianne tell about her tours. Now you have you're offering these Santa Cruz Haunted Tours. Tell me some of the spots you're going to stop by.
So, as I mentioned before, we do pick up and drop off at the Brookdale Lodge. We will not currently be investigating the lodge due to the simple fact that it is still going under renovations at this time. However, you'll get to learn all the haunted history about it. You'll get to learn all the creepy tales and whatnot. From the lodge, we take you to a location in Ben Lomond where we tell you some more history, bust out a little bit of equipment, and then we take you to your final destination, which is a cemetery located in the woods after dark.
Oh, that's very interesting.
That is. I cannot give you the exact location.
You got to keep it quiet. Yes, that's for sure.
Yes, we are fully licensed and approved to be there. So it's about a 1.5-hour tour, and should we pick up anything and patrons still want to go over, we can make it about 2 hours.
Okay, so this tour is in the evenings, you said. From what time to what time?
It's about 8 to 9:30.
8 to 9:30
in the evening.
In the evening.
And sometimes we'll go till 10. Like I said, if it's pretty energetic.
Okay.
Is that the witching hour? What is the witching hour? Is there a witching hour?
Well, there is a witching hour, but we're not going to stay out that late. You don't need to. You really don't.
No, okay, so let's talk about that. Is there a better way to contact... Oh, let me finish telling the thing about Charlie. Okay, so this is radio. Imagine you're looking straight ahead and you have a cross shape, right? Now, I'm not trying to offend Christians, but a cross shape, a T shape, a plus sign, whatever. On the top left corner, you have yes. On the bottom right corner, you have no, right? So they're kind of diagonal from each other. And the opposite. Yes, yes, no, or whatever. Yes, yes.
Okay.
And you put the pens down, like I said. You balance them perfectly. You say, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. You ask the question, and the pen will point, or the pencil will point to an answer. Yes, no, yes, no. It'll spin around.
I think my son's told me about this on YouTube.
Yes, it's a very, very, very scary stuff. 479-1080, DM at KSCO.com. Okay, so let's talk... Where did we leave off? We're talking the Santa Cruz Tours, right?
She was talking about Santa Cruz Tours.
The witching hour. Let me ask you about the witching hour. Is there something that we can do to get in touch with the paranormal? I am weird, but I would love to speak with a ghost. I don't know if maybe not. Maybe I should be careful of what I'm asking for. But if somebody does want to speak with someone from the other side, assuming that's what a ghost is there such thing as the witching hour? I mean, you don't want to go down broad daylight hunting for ghosts, right? That doesn't seem like
Well, no. And I think the energy picks up more after dark is the consensus. There is belief about 3 o'clock in the morning, which is the opposite of the Holy Trinity, and we don't like to mess with things of that nature, because then you're delving into more of the supernatural as opposed to just ghosts and whatnot.
Oh, well, explain to me that. So, what is a supernatural? How is that different from ghosts?
Well, you're talking, it could be anything from negative spirits, demonic things, things that are not of human human beings, human nature, which when we talk about ghosts or spirits, we're talking about people. When we talk more about the supernatural, we're talking something more dark, something more practice.
You do believe in things like the devil and demons and...
Most definitely.
What about things like cryptids, like Bigfoot?
Oh,
and
cryptozoology. I love.
Yes.
I like cryptozoology.
Jersey Devil, things like that, right?
I'm not familiar too much with the Jersey Devil, but I mean, is it possible that a bipedal creature exists? I mean.
You know what? Okay, so we are speaking with Marianne Porter, right? Marianne Porter is author of the book Haunted Santa Cruz, California, which you should probably pick up right now because Halloween is just around the corner. How big of a book is it? I mean, I don't like to read. I fall asleep when I read.
150 pages, maybe. And it's all about places here in Santa Cruz. You got the history of Santa Cruz, how Holy Cross came to be, and you have the hauntings that come with it because Santa Cruz has got pretty much
Is it true that there's a whole bunch of bodies, a mass grave near Holy Cross? Where it used to be versus where it is now? Somewhere in between?
A whole bunch of bodies were taken out of Holy Cross Church, okay, where the church is now, many, many years ago, and put in the new Holy Cross Cemetery. And it is in a mass grave. And my understanding is after my book came out, they actually did a dedication of the Native Americans and put a plaque there, which I found really fantastic because, I thought that was really sickening that they're all buried together. And
that's pretty sad.
Yeah, there was no recognition whatsoever, and now there is, so I'm happy to hear that.
Okay, I would like to invite calls from our listeners. Calls, texts, emails, you know the drill. 831-479-1080 with your phone calls. 831-218-5726 with your text messages. DM at KSCO.com. And I want your stories of Santa Cruz. Weird things. So what exactly is Haunted Santa Cruz, California about?
It's about Santa Cruz.
Just ghosts, though? Is that what we're talking?
It's ghosts and history.
It's a mixture of the two.
It's a mixture of the two.
If you're a fan of local history, you're going to love this. If you like dark stuff, you're going to love this. If you like creepy stuff, things from the other side. What is a ghost, anyways?
Energy.
Is it a dead person? Is it somebody who used to exist and who is still around? Is it somebody who's stuck in maybe a parallel dimension? Maybe somebody who's stuck in a time warp of some sort?
Basically what we believe is that a ghost is someone who is stuck. Maybe they died tragically. Maybe they were murdered. Maybe they are stuck in their death state. They couldn't move on. Maybe they're still holding on. There could be a lot of different reasons as to why someone would stick around.
What are some of your favorite theories why somebody would stick around? I mean, is it for vengeance? One of my favorite is I heard the story about somebody who was looking in their basement. They're hanging out in their basement and they're goofing around, and they hear somebody walking by. They hear soldiers marching, and they turn and look, and they're Roman soldiers, and they are on a path that the Roman soldiers used to take. And it was his belief that this is, it's either history replaying itself somehow, history was caught in the energy of that building, or maybe it's he's seeing he's stuck in some kind of time warp, right? Where they're seeing him as a ghost and he's seeing them as a ghost, when in actuality they're both as real as you and I are to each other. But this quote-unquote ghost is somebody who's actually alive just during a different period, where the timelines are running parallel but just kind of staggered. They're not directly lined up. Do I make sense or no?
You do make perfect sense, and that is a great analogy. I mean, a lot of times we believe that it is history repeating itself, that it's residual effects from a time period, like your example, something that was really... we're talking Romans, so we're talking warriors. We're talking people that were on a mission. We're talking people that were fighting, that were killing.
And dying.
So it's not surprising that this would be like a loop that is repeating itself over and over again.
479-1080, 218-5726, DM at KSCO.com. We're here with Marianne Porter. She is author of Haunted Santa Cruz, California. You can pick that up in your local bookstores. Also, you've been working on some films, you said, right?
Yes, we just did filming last March at the Brookdale Lodge, a documentary with Don Phillips. He is a really well-known psychic, intuitive out of the United Kingdom. He flew all the way from the United Kingdom with his team and worked with myself for a week. We did an entire week of filming at the Brookdale Lodge. So that product is almost finished. I'm really excited, and my team went ahead and did some reenactments too of some of the history that occurred at the Brookdale Lodge, so that's being added to the film. And I'm really excited to see all of it because it's pretty creepy.
Okay, and Santa Cruz Haunted Tours. Now we have to go to a break, but tell me again about Santa Cruz Haunted Tours, because we're going to get to ride around in a cool hearse.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Is it hearse or hearse?
Hearse.
Hearse.
H-E-A-R-S-E.
I know one of them makes shifters, right? And I think that's H-U-R-S-T. They make the shifters. H-E-A-R-S-E.
Yes.
So you get to ride around this cool vehicle.
Yes.
Is it actually, did it really haul around dead people?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it smell like dead people?
No, it's all new. Except for, we do have the original rollers, and we have...
What's a roller?
For when they put in the caskets.
Yeah.
And the original wood from... what the rollers would have sat in. Mm-hmm. So Michael Sorbet, my boyfriend, he went ahead and cut it all properly to fit and customized it. It's absolutely beautiful. It really is.
Wow.
First.
Okay, so do you have a website people can go and check out?
I do. I have two websites.
All right, tell me these websites.
SantaCruzGhostHunters.com, which will give you a little bit about myself, our team, some of the hauntings in Santa Cruz, some of the enigmas in Santa Cruz, some unusual stories, and then we also have, for the tours, SantaCruzHauntedTours.com, and that'll lead you where to go.
Okay, perfect. Let's stop right there. Let's hold it right there, and then when we get back, we'll talk about some of those places that you can go check out on your tour. Okay? KSCO Santa Cruz, it's 4:32. Headlines are up next. Phil D. Seth is going to do his thing. You're listening to Flight 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. We're hanging out with Marianne Porter. She is author of Haunted Santa Cruz, California. Also owner of Santa Cruz Haunted Tours. She has videos and a website which you should check out. That website is SantaCruzGhostHunters.com. She is a ghost hunter as well. We are talking the paranormal. We are talking ghosts. We are talking anything that you want to contribute. I want to hear scary ghost stories. I want to hear scary, freaky stories from around the area. Maybe we could clue you into some new stuff.
That would be great.
That would be great, right?
That would be.
Let's see. Kevin.
Yes.
Do you have any ghost stories that you would like to tell us before we get to the phone calls?
No, I don't really.
Oh, good job, Kevin. Could you make something up at least, dude? I mean, come on. We're trying to keep a rhythm going here to say, come on. No? Nothing?
Nope. I have nothing.
479-1080. Are there some people, Marianne, that just are not going to see it because they don't believe? Do you have to believe in something on the other side?
No, not necessarily. Before I started doing paranormal investigations, I was actually at the Brookdale Lodge one evening, and I had not heard about any of the stories or anything. This was in the early 90s, and all of a sudden we're all hanging out, and the bar is full, and it's after midnight, and here's this little girl that's walking through, and she's tapping people on the shoulder. She's trying to get their attention.
Now you can see them turning around and reacting, or you just see her going and tapping?
I see her doing these things. And
Are they reacting to her?
And they're reacting. Like one woman is swatting at a fly, and the other is just grabbing, just like she got the chills. But nobody's seeing this little girl, and I'm tripping out. I'm like, is she a little guest that's lost? Who is she looking for? Why are they ignoring her? And she kind of walked by me, and she looked as solid as you and I. She walks by me, and I'm like, honey, are you okay? And she just stares at me like a deer in headlights. I mean, no expression, no nothing, and just bolts off towards the Brook room. And I even talked to an employee at that time. I'm like, I think there's a lost little girl in there. She just ran that way. And the lady asked me, well, how'd she get in there? I'm like, what do you mean, how'd she get in there? She opened the door and she went in. How else? And come to find out that door was locked from the top and with a key. They had to get a key. There was nobody there. I assumed it was a guest. I kind of let it go after that and learned later of the stories and went, well.
47980. So let's get to the phone calls, and then maybe we will start talking about stories of the Brookdale Lodge. I think a lot of people know something's going on up there, so maybe we talk about other things. But if not, we'll fill them in on that too. Let's get to the phone calls, okay?
All right.
Phone calls, text messages, emails. We'll get to them all. We'll take phone calls first because we don't want them hanging on too long. 831-479-1080. I want to hear your ghost stories or your tales of the weird. That's what I like to hear, especially locally. That's Santa Cruz, Monterey. I would like to hear those. Let's head out to, I believe it's Watsonville. Kenny or Salinas, you're in the air.
Yes, sir, Mr. Michaels. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, I'd like to be very cautious in how I ask you this question and respectful. Hasn't there ever been reports of people who have actually encountered these paranormal experiences that these ghosts have come across, how should I say it, overly sexually affectionately, affectionate towards people they've touched, goosing them or whatever else? And I'll take my answer off the air. Thank you.
Nice job, Kenny.
All right.
I was going to actually ask that, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot, so I'm glad you did it, Kenny. I was going to ask you if they can touch, right? If they can do, right. Isn't there a ghost? So maybe yes, affectionate, grabbing or touching or caressing, but maybe also an assault. Maybe somebody getting punched in the head or kicked in the groin or something like that?
Sure. There's been reports of violent attacks or even of a sexual nature. Mm-hmm. You have to figure also, too, these were people. If this person was violent in life or he was a predator in life, then after death, he's not going to change.
So you believe that these are people. These are not just a quote-unquote spirit, just some kind of entity, some kind of energy that moves things around. These are people, you believe?
The majority of them, yeah. Unless you get into the supernatural, and then you're talking something different again.
479-1080. Let's head out to Watsonville now. Jose, you're in the air. Thank you for your call.
Hey, thanks, DM, for taking my call. Hey, Pups, say thanks for the Arthur deck. But anyhow, I worked on that Holy Cross remodel, and I crawled every square inch underneath, and there's 3 tombstones under there. But this isn't why I called. The reason I called is where I live, my backyard is 3 acres. I just have farm animals in there, and I've already had 2 people. They're grown men now. One guy came back and talked to me about it, but he was 7 years old, jumping on a trampoline in my backyard, and he said that there was a little white girl with long blonde hair, old white dress, watching him, smiling at him, and he said when he looked underneath the trampoline that her feet weren't touching the ground. So anyhow, he came and told me that there was ghosts in the backyard, but I had goats, so I thought they were goats. Anyhow, so anytime I meet somebody in Watsonville that's around my area, I always ask them, what's your ghost story? And I had this one guy told me that he was skipping school, so he was hiding in the woods, and he said across the property, the same story. A little white girl that was hoovering across the yard, And I told him, hey, man, that was my yard. And anyhow, just reading through ghost stories and stuff, I think I got a name. I think it's Sarah Miller, because I'm like down from Mount Madonna, and I could see that being like a horse ride away when she was a kid. But anyway, thanks for the Arthur decks again, and I'll talk to you later, DM. Thanks.
All right, Jose, you got it, man. Thank you for the phone call, 479-1080.
That is interesting.
Now, tell us, when we looked at each other, we both know who Sarah Miller is, right? Okay, so tell everybody who Sarah Miller is, because he said that he lived near Mount Madonna, obviously. Right. Who is Sarah Miller?
Sarah Miller was the daughter of the cattle king, Henry Miller. He had an estate at the top of Mount Madonna where the campgrounds are, and you can still see the ruins today. Sarah Miller had died in a horse accident. She was 8 years old. I actually have a picture of her, I believe, on my website. The horse had fallen, and she had gotten crushed underneath the horse's weight. And she died. And a lot of people report at the Mount Madonna campgrounds that they've seen a little girl walking either through the campgrounds or giggling, an apparition. However, also on, was it Hecker Pass right there? There a lot of people see a lot of things there too, because that was a dumping ground for a lot of gangs and violence and whatnot. So you got a couple things going on.
Holy cow,
over
this
there.
is scary looking, man. Holy smokes. You know, those look like the Shadow Watchers.
They
look like the Shadow Watchers.
I've seen those, and when I saw that GIF or GIF,
GIF, I don't know.
Yeah, I call it a GIF.
Choosy moms choose GIF, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. As soon as I saw that, I said, oh no, I got to put that on the website.
I'm talking SantaCruzGhostHunters.com. This is a great looking website. That is really cool. Haunted Santa Cruz, California. You know what? I don't think that I own this book. So tell me what I'm going to find in this book. What is it about?
Oh, you are going to find everything from Holy Cross. Oh, and it was interesting that the last caller mentioned Holy Cross and that there's tombs underneath it.
Did he? I missed it.
Yeah, you missed it.
Somebody was calling about smoke up in the hills, but there's no need to worry, you guys.
Because in my book, I talk about Father Quintana, and that's in one of the first chapters regarding Holy Cross, and he was the one who had beaten the Native Americans. And I had even researched with the Monterey Diocese, and they had given me the death certificate or a copy of it, but it was all in Spanish, so that didn't help me. But the priest did say that, you know, it was unusual. Not only was he exhumed, but we don't seem to have a record of where he is currently. Well, I asked the Holy Cross Church, is he buried underneath the church? Because they had exhumed him way back when. They didn't want the Indians to rip them apart after that. And the fact that there's 3 tombstones underneath the church is very, very interesting. They would not tell me. They would not let me go under there.
So tell us who Father Quintana is and the story behind this guy.
Father Quintana. Okay, so when Santa Cruz was missionized by the Spaniards, and I think there was 21 missions. Santa Cruz was one of them. Father Quintana was in charge of some of the Native Americans, and those Native Americans were forced into beliefs. Some of them did it voluntarily, others were forced into it. Basically, they were forced into slavery. And Father Quintana was very abusive. He would take a wire tip whip and beat and brutalize the Native Americans, you know, women, children, men.
Horrible things, right?
Horrible things.
Right.
Santa Cruz was actually one of the worst missions out of all of them, reportedly. So what ended up happening is the Native Americans decided, we're going to revolt. And they killed him, and were able to put his body back in, undetected, back into his bed. And it's foretold, too, that they literally took a rock and crushed his testicles. And that's like setting a statement, like, you know what, you're not even going to reproduce in the afterlife, dude. You're done. So that was a very big deal back then. And, you know, my personal belief, this is what kind of caused a lot of the negativity that Santa Cruz endured during those times. Was just, I mean, you were founded, the city was founded, you know, in a mannerism of God, you know, by Catholic missions and whatnot, and these people representing God were so abusive and hurtful to another human life.
479-1080-218-5726, DM at KSCO.com. Her hearse is beautiful, a caddy no less. So this is what you take people on tour with, right? This is Santa Cruz Haunted Tours.
Yes.
You are a ghost hunter as well as
ghost huntress.
And you offer the Santa Cruz Haunted Tours. What are some of the stops? What are some of the stops that we make?
We do pick up and drop off at the Brookdale Lodge, and I was mentioning earlier we're not investigating the Brookdale Lodge, but we'll tell you all about it and all its stories because it's still going to go under reconstruction in its popular areas. From there, we'll take you to another location in Ben Lomond where we'll go ahead and go over some more history, some more dark tales, bust out some paranormal equipment, and then your final destination will be at a cemetery, but I can't tell you which one.
Ooh, I hate that.
And of course, this is after dark.
Okay.
This is not during the day. And we will do a mini paranormal investigation, and you patrons get to be the paranormal investigators.
Tell me about some of this equipment that they get to use. What is it?
So we have K2 meters. We have a REM pod.
What are these things?
These all detect energy.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, when an entity is trying to make its presence known, it will light up these devices, and it does. They'll make their presence known. We also will do EVPs, electric voice phenomenon, and we'll do instant replay, with a digital recorder, and try and get a voice to come out and talk to us. And we've had them, and sometimes they can be disturbing because here you are out in the middle of nowhere, and there's only so many people with you. You're all quiet. You're all. Like mice, church mice, and we're asking a question and we're getting a response in return. Mm-hmm. So it can be very compelling. I've had people, say, "Oh, yeah, this is BS," and I'm not trying to, make anyone believe in the afterlife or force them to believe in anything.
Right.
But to have an open mind,
sure.
The possibility.
It's going to be more fun if you have an open mind,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. If you go in it without an open mind, then, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun.
Right. And it's fun.
It is fun.
It's a perfect time of year to do it. How much does it cost for something like this?
The tours are $80 per person.
Mm-hmm.
They're about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
479-1080-218-5726 DM at KSCO.com. Only little kids, Sarah. I don't know what that means. Only little kids, Sarah. Okay, so some of the stops. Brookdale Lodge is one of them, right? And then it's a cemetery,
secret
and unknown.
Yeah,
they're secret spots.
I can't reveal the secret spot because we have permission to be there, and we do not want people going in that don't have permission.
Right. 218-572-6479-1080. I want to hear again your creepy or scary tales. Even if you have some experiment that we can do. Like the Charlie thing, I think that's great. If I was listening, I would do that tonight. If you have any tips like that, I would like to hear them. We're here with Marianne Porter, Haunted Santa Cruz, California. You have a couple of book signings coming up, right?
I do. Actually, on October 28th at Seymour Marine Center, there's a mystery writers luncheon, and I will be there with the hearse. There will be 3 other authors as well. I will be raffling off, or they will be raffling off one of my tickets for the tours, so that'll be an option. That's October 28th from 11 to 2:30 through Omega New. Let's see. We also have the Bookshop Santa Cruz, October 30th. I'll be there at 7 p.m. Signing books, doing a little promo there, a little presentation, answering questions, the whole 9 yards. Also, we will be on liveparanormal.com with Sophia Temporelli, October 27th. And American Supernatural with Dawn Phillips from the UK is going to be on as well. So that should be an interesting segment. Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are, in your experience, just generally, what are some of the most haunted places? Or, is it a cemetery? Is it the insane asylum? Is it hospitals? Is it the junkyards? Is it, what is it?
It would depend. It depends on the energy that's there. I've been wanting to go in and investigate the Kemper house, to tell you the truth.
That would be cool.
Yes.
That's the one in Wattsville, right?
No, actually, that's the one in Aptos.
Aptos.
That was where Edmund Kemper had lived and had put,
Yeah, he chopped some of his family members up, right? Cruised around with his grandma's head in the trunk, right?
His mother was like the last victim, and her friend. I mean, it's all a very tragic thing. We actually did get a phone call for someone who had lived there that was experiencing activity.
Where is the Kemper house?
It's
Whereabouts?
in Aptos. It's
in
like
Aptos.
I think a duplex or apartments now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've really been interested in.
Before you got on the air here, I was telling, because I was excited, and I was telling Griffin about you, and he told me a story, man, that'll make your teeth curl.
Oh.
And I'll tell you about that on the other side, but let's get to a phone call. Yes?
Sure.
Steve, thank you for your call. You're in the air.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Steve.
This is really cool. I was just thinking, about 12 years ago, I have actually slept on the grounds of the old mission. I have.
Slept where?
Yeah. Well, I slept on the grounds right by the fence. It was right as my dad died. After my dad died, I said, I want to go back to Santa Cruz, man. I have to go back to Santa Cruz. So I was totally discombobulated, I got my thoughts straight, and I climbed over the fence. Don't tell the police. Right. Yeah, but I did. I've slept on the grounds of that mission. I've been in there. I took the tour, and I've been to Holy Cross. I know people that work there. And there are people buried on the ground. I had the weirdest experience, man. Oh my God! I heard this screeching sound at 3:30 in the morning. It was like the loudest sound you've ever heard.
Oh.
It's like a 6-foot bird.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. I'm not making it up. 3:30 in the morning. I mean, it was crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm wide awake here. I'm wide awake.
Right.
Something's screeching.
Yeah, that would be an odd time for a bird to be up. It
would be. And describe to me a bit more of this bird, Steve. Tell me a little bit more about this bird. Did you see it, or you just heard it?
I couldn't see it. It was above me. I couldn't see it.
Okay. You know what? And what did it sound like? Can you imitate it for us?
I'll try.
Okay.
Give me a break here.
All right, no problem.
I'm sort of tone deaf.
I'll do the same thing too, because I heard something that I want to describe to people.
It was like.
Yeah, that would scare the out of anyone.
Thank you for the call, Steve. 479-1080. Because I heard one time when I was living out in Aromas, I heard one of the creepiest sounds I've ever heard in my freaking life, man.
I have 3 short ones. I was at the Brookdale Lodge once for work, and I'm interested in ghosts. So I asked one of the workers, "Hey, you ever have a ghost story? You ever have a ghost encounter?" And he looked around and said, "Well," he used to clean rooms there. So he's cleaning rooms. He's going to take a break. So he sat down on the bed to watch TV in one of the rooms, and then something sat down on the bed beside him. And there was a little indentation on the bed, like someone's rear end is sitting there.
Right.
And the hair in the back of his neck went up on the back of his neck without his knowing why, and he ran out of the room.
Of London late at night. The Ripper, Jack the Ripper, with a little black bag that's also tight. The Ripper, Jack the Ripper.
479-1080. You're listening to Flight 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. Jack the Ripper, a serial killer. Marianne Porter is hanging out with us. Is he a serial killer or a mass killer? What's the difference? Do you know?
Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper, right?
I would
Did you say you studied
a serial killer?
Serial killers? Isn't that kind of your thing?
Actually, now that you mention it, I have interviewed a few serial killers, and I'm working on, and that's going to be in a 3rd book later on. Mm-hmm. But yes, my thing with serial killers is, do they see the ghosts of who they murdered?
Wow.
Yeah.
479-1080. Let's get to the phone calls, text messages, and emails. We'll take them in that order. Phone calls, text messages, and emails. Mike is calling. Thank you for your call, Mike. You're in the air.
All right, guys. I got a good story for you that's true.
All right.
This story is about a guy named John. I went to high school with him, and John was a thief. And John used to go to the graveyard at Harvey West, and he would break into the tombs And one day he talked me into going with him, and I went into the tomb with him, and he saw this really nice ring on this very old body. He went to pull the ring off, and he pulled the finger off, and he kept the ring. And that freaked me out so bad I never went back.
Damn, are you serious?
I'm this is a true story.
Wow.
I wouldn't have waited so long to tell you a phony story. So, about 10 or 15 years later, John is working for, I believe it was Granite Construction. And he was working on a big industrial sweeper unit, and something jammed in this sweeper unit. So John, being who John is, jumped up on the sweeper unit, and he decided he's going to try to use his boot and kick this thing out of the jam that it was in. And this is a true story now. And he kicked it, and the thing flipped into gear and grabbed his jeans and slowly was turning. I mean, you're talking about 2 inches, just barely turning. This thing was turning, and he couldn't get his pant leg out of this thing. As it's turning, it's grabbing more of his pant leg, so the guys that were with him grabbed him to try to pull him out of this thing. They couldn't get him out of there, and the thing pulled his leg out from the knee.
Ooh.
Oh.
And they could not reattach his leg. Now, if that's not karma, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And on my mother's soul, that's a true story. John now is still working. He has his fake leg. And that's what happens to you when you rob graves.
Wow, Mike.
Wow.
Thank you for the phone call, 479-1080, 218-5726, DM at KSCO.com. I want to hear your stories of the weird, of the ghost stories locally. You know, David Corsi came in during the break, and he brought up a good point, and that is that every area, every community has their ghost story, right? Their local ghost story. And so I want to hear those. If you came from Sacramento, you came from Turlock, Fresno, I don't care where you came from, give us let us hear your stories.
Yeah.
218-5726, DM at KSCO.com, 479-1080. David was telling us where he's from in Texas. The ghost story over there is of the Lady of the Lake. And that's near White Rock Lake in Texas. The Lady of the Lake is their local ghost story.
He was mentioning too, wasn't that where Bonnie and Clyde where they got killed?
Where they got killed.
That's cool.
479-1080, 218-5726. Where did you grow up, Kevin?
I grew up in the Corlitas area.
Oh, anything creepy out there?
Nah.
No. You, Marianne, where did you grow up?
Aptos.
Yep. Yeah, I grew up in Watsonville. Let me see if I could think of any. Well, look, I have a suggestion here for, I think his name was Steve, who said that he heard a weird sound, which I heard too. Greg writes in, says, the bird you're describing is a heron. Very big and horribly loud screech, and they will screech in the early hours of the morning. They look like a giant pterodactyl with a long neck.
Oh.
That's what I suspect too. I suspect it was, and I also suspect that that's what the Jersey Devil is. It was just a big bird that people mistook for a two-legged bipedal, horse-headed winged creature.
Right.
You know what the Jersey Devil? You're familiar with it, right?
I've heard of the story, but yeah. Let's
218-5726. If you want to send in a text message, we're here with Marianne Porter. She is author of Haunted Santa Cruz, California, Santa Cruz Haunted Tours. Give us a call, 479-1080, 218-KSCO. That's 218-KSCO with your text messages.
So, Dave.
Yes.
You live in Watsonville.
Yes.
Have you ever checked out the Tuttle Mansion?
I have. I love the Tuttle Mansion. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
It's right there on, I don't know if it's on Tuttle Street. I know it's on East Lake.
It's on East Lake.
It's on East Lake, yeah.
Yeah. We've investigated there multiple times.
Really? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Okay, so our listeners in Watsonville, listen up. Okay, so you're going to tell us a little bit about the Tuttle Mansion.
The Tuttle Mansion, located on East Lake, that big, beautiful, reddish-purple building, I'm sure many of you have seen it, is, in fact, haunted. We, Santa Cruz Ghost Hunters, has investigated it multiple times. The area in particular that we noticed that was haunted the most, however, was the Carriage House, formerly known as Dusty Treasures. The Carriage House seemed to haunt with children, was filled with children, and we would get EVPs, we would get people who were being touched. We have audio tracks on my website of strange voices, and they came through on a phone. Like the owner who was at the Tuttle Mansion and another person, they were in the other room while we were doing our investigation. And her phone starts calling the other phone. Well, they're in the other room, so there's no, they're not calling one another. They go check the messages at the end, and the voices are somebody else. There's 3 different voices. And if you guys go onto my website, SantaCruzGhostHunters.com, and look up the Tunnel Mansion, you'll hear and read about what I'm talking about.
Really?
It's a creepy story. It's very creepy. And your
webpage again?
SantaCruzGhostHunters.com.
SantaCruzGhostHunters.com. Is it open right now?
The Tuttle Mansion?
No, your website.
Of course.
Is it open tonight?
Yes.
How about in the morning? So I can go there anytime I want, right?
You can go there anytime you
365 days a year?
365 days a year.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
479-1080. We want to hear your ghost stories, your stories of the creepy, of the weird. I will tell you mine after we get to the phone calls and text messages, and yeah, that'll do it. And then we'll get to my stories. Okay, Kurt is up next. Thank you for your call, Kurt. You are in the air.
Yeah. I was on the highway patrol at the start of the war, and I had an experience at the Screwony Ranch up the coast, and I understand there are ghost stories about that, but this isn't related to that exactly. At that time, we were watching for signals from the Japanese submarines, and it's pretty hard to imagine now how the framework of concern with everybody at that time. Anyhow, we were going up the coast one night. I had what we call a merchant patrolman with me, and we saw some flashes of light down at the water's edge. Now, we were familiar with the kind of flashes that occur in the surf, and so we knew that was not what it was. It was flashes of some sort down there. So we turned down the Screwony Road. If you know where that is, it's up between Santa Cruz and down the left, and there was an old ranch house down there. It was a dairy, in fact, and I got acquainted with the people later on, but at that time I knew nothing about it. So the two of us, we stopped and we decided that we would have to walk down there because we couldn't get the patrol down there at all. So we stopped when we were up at the top of the hill, and I had a rising submachine gun, and he had a 30-06 rifle. We were loaded for bear. Now, we knew that, or we thought that if something happened, we could be in some danger, so we were pretty tense about how we were behaving. So we came down to the bottom of the hill, and we knew that wherever there was a dairy, there was bound to be dogs. And so here in the dark, before the moon came up, we see at the bottom of the hill there is a gate leading out into a little open field. So we could just see the outline of this gate, and we started to open it, and it sounded like a bugle, that big toot. So we held the gate, and one of us got down on his knees and tried to pick up rocks to build a little pile of rocks there to hold the gate in place. And it took us quite a little while, and we were very busy to try to do this without making a single sound. We hadn't roused the dogs yet. But after a while, we finally got the thing set, and we went across this little field and on down and we came to a creek. And so we wallowed around in this creek. Now, understand, at that time, the highway patrol didn't pay all that great amount of money, and I had on almost a brand new uniform, which I had to pay for myself. at that time, we had to do all this for all the expenses that are now paid for by taxpayers. We were stuck with it. Anyhow, we went up and down. We followed this creek down through the mud and finally got onto the beach and went up and down the beach and couldn't find a damn thing. So about that time, the moon came up, and we went back up to our core. We were defeated. We couldn't find what was making the flashes. And we get back up, and here was a great big wide trail that you could almost drive a car down that we had missed. So we walked back up that trail back to this little field, which had been used by the Scronis when people wanted to come down there to for a picnic. They charged them, and they would come through this gate and then pay 2 bits or whatever it was and go back. So here we come to this field. We go up to the gate, and here it is, sitting there in the middle of the field with no fence on either end of it. I never had such a letdown in all my life.
Jeez.
Wow.
Well, thank you for the phone call,
That was
Kurt.
nice.
479-1080, 218-5726.
Well, thank you for your service as a highway patrolman, too.
Yes. Scaroni rhymes with macaroni and also bologna. And, I don't know.
Where are you going with that?
Yeah, where are you going with that?
I don't know. I think it's a cool name, Scaroni.
Yeah, I know.
And if you're driving along Highway 1, that's just one of the names that catches your eye. And also, if you're driving along Highway 1, like this guy, or this person, says, I've been commuting to Half Moon Bay via Highway 1 for over 10 years now. My commute home is after dark. I'm convinced there is paranormal activity along that stretch of highway. Does your guest have any information about this stretch of road? Marianne?
Ooh.
Because it does seem kind of creepy, especially when you're out there driving around after... Wow. Wow, you know what? You know what I think would be super cool? Besides living in a trailer on the swamp, because I like creepy places.
Okay.
I think camping out along the roadside would be awesome, because some of those roadsides are just so creepy. I think it would be really, really fun. Do you have any stories about Highway 1?
Gosh. I have heard people talk about Native Americans being seen on stretches of roads. I'm not sure if in particularly that one.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have heard late at night they would see particularly one Native American without a shirt, wearing what looks like leather pants or of that time period, and a necklace and not much else, and long hair. And late at night that they would see him on the roadway. So whether that's what this guest is seeing, I don't know, but it's hard to say.
218-5726, 479-1080, DM at KSCO.com. If you have any questions or if you have any stories, we would like to hear them. Would you like to hear mine, Marianne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Share.
I actually have I have 2 stories. One of them happened to my mom, the other happened to me. And the one that happened to me, I'm sure has been told over and over and over again, or some sort of story like it, and that is the woman who's hitchhiking and stops. I'm hitchhiking at night in the rain. I'm not going to leave a woman out there hiking or hitchhiking, right? So I picked her up, gave her a ride. My friends were all freaked out. To this day, they think it was a ghost. To me, it was just a woman that needed a ride. Right? That's my story. And I guess I could tell it in a creepier way, but to me, it was not creepy, but to the guys in the car, it was. And then the other story is what happened to my mom out in Pajaro. And it is the story of the Llorona. Do you know that story?
Oh, I think I'm familiar with that. Go, please.
The Llorona is the woman who searches for all eternity for the body of her child. Right? And she searches every body of water, and this is her punishment for what she did to the kids. And if you want to look it up, you can. Llorona is spelled with 2 A's.
I believe
two L's.
She drowned them, didn't she?
She drowned one of them, and could not find the body. So she killed them in different ways, found the bodies of the other 2 or whatever, but could not find the body of this one. And so she roams bodies of water at night and just the creepiest cry that you can think of. Because you can imagine a mother who's mourning for
right.
She walks around like that all night long, man. That is super creepy.
That
right?
is creepy.
And maybe not creepy if you live downtown Santa Cruz or downtown Watsonville, but if you live over by the Pajaro River or by man, that's creepy stuff. That is creepy stuff. 479-1080-218-5726, DM at KSCO.com. Marianne, thank you for joining us. I guess we'll wrap it up here. It's 5:30. Thank you for joining us. Now, again, your book is called Haunted Santa Cruz, California, right?
Yes, indeed.
Santa Cruz Haunted Tours is what's going on now.
Yes.
Right, you got this going on now. You can ride around in a hearse and tour haunted places of Santa Cruz County.
Exactly. You can go on a mini paranormal investigation with seasoned paranormal investigators, and just go ahead and go to our website, SantaCruzHauntedTours.com. Shoot us an email, and we'll get you set up.
Sounds good, Marianne. Thank you for joining us. Flight 1080. We are going to break for local headlines. KSCO Santa Cruz.